You are listening to The Local, hosted by Sam Muscat and proudly supported by the Altona Traders Association. We're here today with Michael Pernar, and he's the actually, and if I read the script, this is going to be wonderful. He's handsome, irresistible, and he's the CEO of the Laverton Community Hub. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thanks, Sam. It's a pleasure to be here.
And it's a pleasure to have you, especially after we've given you such a hard, well, actually not me more so. Scarlett Rose gave you a hard time, but no, thank you for being on The Local. And just to share with you too, Michael, The Local, of course, is a podcast that goes out locally, and a number of our businesses, small businesses that are tied up with the Altona Traders Association, have proudly sponsored this opportunity for us to get around and talk to a lot of local important people, even if you are handsome, irresistible, and lovable, and all those things that Scarlett Rose has written about you. But sincerely, thank you so much for being on The Local. And tell us a little bit about the Laverton Community Hub. It's a great facility, by the way. I had a bit of a walk around, and yeah, it's great. So what happens here?
The Community Hub, the Laverton Community Hub, it's a council building, first and foremost. It was built in between 2010 2012 as part of the Laverton Renewal Project, Community Renewal. At that time, the state governments were doing neighbourhood renewal, places like Heathdale, Flemington, when they were breaking down the concentration of commission housing and putting in a mix of private and whatnot to lift, if you like, the morale in the community, but also to get away from that tag of commission areas. And Laverton, we had, for people that know the history, we've got a RAF base.
Yep.
There were 400 houses that were RAF houses. The feds, when they decommissioned the Air Force Base, gave it to the state government. They converted it to commission housing. Now, fantastic idea, 400 families were shipped in, but no services, nothing around. So Laverton got a bit of a moniker as a disadvantaged area, high commission. So basically what happened, it was through that need of the community renewal, the state government decided that we don't qualify for neighbourhood renewal, but there were 19 communities throughout Victoria which fit the consolation prize of a community renewal. So we worked together as a community. The late Lynn Koski, God bless her, who was our local member, got us funding from 2002 to 2006, and the community got together on community safety, education, services, looking at everything under a fine microscope of what's needed in the community. So 2006, I was managing what was then the Laverton Civic Complex, which is the function room at the end.
Because it was here, wasn't it?
It was.
Yes, yeah.
It was a smaller building, and we were managing it because the neighbourhood house that I worked for started at 12 Crown Street, and we had community services, childcare and education in one little building. So I noticed this area was empty and realised that if you don't use it, you lose it. So we approached council, and they were gracious enough to allow us to use it. And then when community renewal occurred in 2006, Lynn took the findings to the state government, and I actually met with John Flates and Brumby here, and they put $1 million on the table and said, yep, you need to build a community facility that can accommodate the services. So today we've got this great facility. I occupy one wing with our community services arm, and the council operates the rest of the building, and providing there are 5 classrooms which are fully booked every day, and that's usually our education centre is running all of the courses there. We have 300 students at the education centre now. The childcare centre was built in 2006. I was managing the previous one, which was a 35 close centre. It's now 116 with the
It's really
integrated
grown.
kindergarten. It's grown, but it's reflecting the need in the community, and that's what my mission's been. And today we have this collaborative relationship with our council about making Laverton a better place and providing the services locally that the community needs. So the hub will do everything from Pilates and Zumba. Last night, if you came here, there's Narc Anonymous, there's Alcoholics Anonymous, we have the Amber program. On the weekends, it's frequented with numerous church groups. So it's a thriving little hub per se, and
Yes.
and that's what was needed in the community. Because if you can have a community, every community has needs, and every neighbourhood house or community centre throughout Hobson's Bay, and we have 9 of them, are reflective of the needs of that community. So the hub's a thriving little place, and it's part of a bigger precinct. So with the children's centre and everything.
And you know what you've just reflected on reflects on the from the beginning, if you like, because I remember as a RAF base, I did some training here, so I've got a little bit of history in the area. I also used to play in the band at the Golden
Golden Age?
Yep, and wasn't called that thing. We were the regular or the resident band to do weddings and to do functions there. I've got some great stories about that, but that'll stay for another time. So I've got a small little link to the area, and I've seen the growth in the area too. And I've got to say that, you know, besides the obvious of not only just congratulating you, but congratulating, you know, Hobson's Bay Council for its dedication and more so for its support of the community. Because you're right, when this changed over to a hub in the sense, not the hub here, but across the railway line with all of the ADF housing, when it changed to becoming a central welfare centre, you're right, there was no infrastructure in a lot of ways. And, you know, you put people from a housing commission flat block to open area without anything, people don't know what to do. People don't know where to go. So you're right. But having said all of that, I'm really interested, and I'm sure our listeners would be even more so interested. How did you get from your homeland to getting into this gig? You tell us a little bit about your own personal story, because it is fascinating, and I think it's worth sharing with our listeners.
Well, I suppose in today's society, when you think about or reflect on what constitutes a refugee, this is probably the third wave of refugees. The first refugees that came were post-war Europeans.
Yep.
And my dad, he was a political refugee, so I'm the son of a refugee. Dad ran across the borders of when he was in former Yugoslavia. He wanted to be a policeman, but to be a policeman, he had to join the Communist Party, which he wasn't going to do because it was the communists that killed his dad during the war.
Okay.
And so, you know, but this is that generational conflict. And that's why the former Yugoslavia is what it is. And it makes sense when we get to 91. But so I came
Sadly
here.
makes sense.
Yes. I came here in 64, met my dad for the first time because that was the reason he'd done the border too. Mum was pregnant and with me, and he decided his children were going to grow up in a country that's free, a country where you can achieve. And he ran over to Trieste.
Yep, Trieste.
Took him 3 days to run the border and the machine gun nests and whatnot. Got there, and there was an old joke, where's the longest day in the world? And they said, it's Italy. It takes 9 months to make a day go.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And Dad was there for 9 months and got an Italian passport. Consulates came. Australia was the only one that offered 2 years guaranteed employment. So
Okay.
Dad kicked here, got off at Fremantle, too hot. Come to Melbourne.
Good comment.
But look, he's used to it. We were mountain folk back there, so the snow wasn't anything new.
Perfect.
And then Dad worked for the SCC and then for the Border Works. Ended up staying with the Border Works, brought us over, moved into Yarraville, and then he started bringing over all the rellos, half a village. And look, I remember I was 10 years old and I'll go into the immigration building at the top of Spring Street, the old green building,
Yep.
as an interpreter. We didn't have interpreter services those days.
Oh.
So I was interpreting for all these people coming over.
So how old were you then?
10. So, and then, and anyway, settled in Yarraville, went to Footscray High School, and then I ended up going to college, did business, and when the war broke out in the former Yugoslavia, 91.
Sadly.
Yep. I was working for Australian Croatian Community Services, and we repatriated about a dozen Bosnian refugee families to here, picking them up from Tullamarine Airport, and they come from Germany or Italy from the camps, and had to literally set them up in the hostels and then get them an identity. You pick them up at the airport, they'd have 2 shopping bags of clothes, and their only ID was the visa. So it was linking them up with Medicare, CES, and then those Centrelink, teaching them how to shop, enroll their kids in school, and then find them permanent accommodation.
Really hands-on stuff, how powerful.
It
Real
was
hands-on
and it
stuff.
was, and it gave me the perception of the system.
Yeah. But you already were exposed to the system too. And, I asked you about how old were you when you interpreted, and you did say 10, and then you repeated it, of course, because when I heard you say 10, I thought, no, I've misunderstood. At the age of 10, interpreting, and you're really a new kid on the block being, here in Australia, what a changeover for you it must have been, and for your mum. Dad was here already and he's established, but it really shows your passion too to give back to the community, which is outstanding in that respect, And I'm sure that the Yugoslavia community, be it whatever they are now, back then would have been extremely grateful for the support that you gave and the guidance that you gave them too. And then what really adds value to that too is the fact that here you are now still giving. You've got such a great facility here. And I'm guessing you're not only just giving to a particular group of people or nationality, it's spread right across the community.
Well, it is. Our here at the Laverton Community Integrated Services, which is what we've become after Laverton Community Centre, with the childcare centre, for example, I have 14 different nationalities employed there.
And you speak all 14 languages?
Oh, yeah, of course I do.
I knew that.
And then the education centre, we do English Migrant English program, Australia, the AMIP program, Migrant English program. So teaching them English, we do learn local courses where they learn conversational English. Then we progress. They're all pre-accredited. Then we got accredited courses. We actually do Certificate 3 and diplomas in individual support, early childhood and education, So we do those. And we've actually got the beauty is when you see someone that comes here, does the AMET program, goes through our pre-accredited, then enrolls into early childhood and become early years educators, and they work for me.
Yeah. But that's, you know what, that's always so rewarding because, you know, as a next instructor, when I've seen people come in and then all of a sudden you see them years afterwards and they're instructors or they're managers or, you know, they're in a different role, you go, what a great journey they've had. And if it wasn't for example, for what you provide here at the hub, they wouldn't have developed. And I'll ask you this question again. I'm guessing they're from all different nationalities.
100%.
So, and I'm guessing also that they're not just refugees. There are people who have
No.
migrated here. And do you get a lot of refugees still?
We get a lot of refugees, like especially through the AMET program.
That's fine.
But otherwise, look, as we know, you know, we're in the western suburbs of Melbourne. There's a high proportion of people. English is, is a second language.
Absolutely.
Without going through all the figures. Our community centre was set up really to serve the RAF base and to provide, and 1974.
Yep.
So, you know, it's been 50 years. And the quizmaster,
Jonesy. Yep.
Yep, he was a member for Werribee at the time. He got him their first funding.
You know, I mean, he's still around. I think
I hope so.
No, I saw him at a Rotary Melbourne giving a talk, and I've known him personally, and wow, it's a wow factor when you get to know him because he's just a wealth of knowledge, and what he's done here in this particular district of what used to be his forum is amazing. But that's a different story. But I think it's really amazing with what you've achieved with your background and where you're at now and what this hub provides for the community. So you provide a whole range of things as you've just outlined, and I thank you for sharing that with us. And also thank you for sharing your personal story with us. But I think it's really important also to maybe talk about some of the other activities that you really touched on some, but some of the other activities that take place here.
Well, one thing also, the community centre in 1988, because of all of that commission, we became an emergency relief provider for the Commonwealth government.
Okay.
So we still do that today.
Excellent.
So we've been doing it for, do the math, since 88. We have emergency relief here, so we provide food vouchers, and material relief for anyone in the community that needs it. We have a great relationship with Food Bank, Second Bites, Fair Share, Oz Harvest. They help us. We help the community. We also, in 2016, set up the LTP program. We now
tell people what that is, because that's a really important program.
It is. It's a program, as we all know. We need 120 hours to get a license in Victoria, 120 hours of tuition. So the LTP program provides those young people that they haven't got access to a car or a mentor or someone to teach them to drive. So we have 120 places here.
Wow.
I've got a fleet of 5 cars, or we've got a fleet. I keep saying we've got a fleet of 5 cars, and it's called the Wind Bay LTP. So it's through Werribee and all of Hobson's Bay, and we've had over 350 P-platers through that program.
And what's the cost?
Nothing.
Exactly. That's why I wanted you to talk about it.
And that's the beauty of it. I have, just to put into perspective now, the Children's Centre, the Education Centre, my community services team, we have 80 employees and 120 volunteers. And 88 of those volunteers are my mentors that each week put in an hour or two to educate these young people on the roads.
Yeah.
We're always looking for more mentors. So if people have got an hour or two spare and a good driving record, I couldn't qualify.
Okay.
So one of my mentors, the lady, she's a principal in Point Cook, and we matched her up with a newly arrived lady from, I think it was Sudan, and or it could have been one of the African
Doesn't matter.
nations, doesn't matter. But not only did that young lady learn to drive in 120 hours, she became more proficient at English.
Wow.
Because,
So it's a double whammy.
yeah, because they'd spend
Time
that
talking.
120 hours of free English.
So that's actually just that's a real great story. That here you're not only just doing the so many hours of driving, you're actually doing English classes, and she becomes professional or proficient at English, which is a fantastic story. So you could see the benefits that take place here.
Well, the mentorship, and look, our mission, Laverton Community Integrated Services, is we empower people,
Absolutely.
and our pillars is community support and diversity. So, tick, tick, tick. We do the lot. I through the Bendigo Community Banks.
Yeah.
In 2010, they started, 2006 actually, it was a partnership with the then state government, youth foundations.
Oh yeah. Okay. So all right.
So in those communities I mentioned before, the community renewal communities, which Laverton was one of, we were the first youth foundation set up in Victoria, and money went into that. And in 2010, a change of government, as we all got to put up with, philosophies changed, so that program ceased. But there was a corpus built because the community bank had put money in, the state government had put money in. So since 2010, I've been running a youth foundation with the support of our local Laverton and Altona bank branches. So Katie and Sean, who work for me here, they engage with school communities and youth in Wyndham and in Hobson's Bay, Altona College, the Wells, the English language school, doing the independent, sort of independent programs, cooking programs, drop-ins, camps, holiday programs. So
so much to offer. Yeah.
It's look, I'm proud of the team. I'm proud of what we've achieved. We're a registered trading organisation. Our children's centre's exceeding in all 7 standards. We're the only community centre that actually is under the Australian Service Excellence standards. So we have to meet those. We got so many gods we have to pray to every night.
I know. I worked for Deecher for a number of years and set up so maybe I looked at your registration too back then. That's a while ago now, but set up all of these criteria to protect the industry too. More importantly, to protect the individuals. However, it's really, again, congratulations for everything that you do at the Hub. And hopefully this podcast makes people more aware of what the Laverton Community Hub is providing to its community, but it actually overreaches just your community. It goes.
It does.
Right?
It does.
Because you've mentioned, Wyndham, which is literally across the border, but you've got no boundaries.
Look, when I started here in '95, Laverton was, well, let's start again. Werribee was the Shire of Werribee was the country suburb.
Correct.
Right? Laverton, you could have extricated and plopped anywhere.
I don't disagree with you.
Right? Altona Meadows, it was half developed. There was no sanctuary.
There was no Altona Meadows.
Point Cook were farms. So you look at how much, and I've always said it, governments make boundaries, people don't.
No.
And people, human nature is the shortest line between A and B. So if we're closer, than where they're supposed to go, they'll come here first.
I'm actually having a bit of a giggle because I think we could do a history lesson of the development of this particular area, because I go back to the days of Cheatham Salt.
Yeah, well,
I
there you
looked
go.
after
Well,
Cheatham
that's why I said, well, why build a golf course on the bloody salt pond?
Right. So I still remember it as that. If I have a passion, it's to ensure that we keep the airbase,
100%.
right? I will not support the government, and that's a different subject altogether. But look, I just wanted to say thank you so much for being on the local. It is important that the story is shared amongst our listeners. I reckon we could go on for hours.
Oh, mate.
But what I would like to put to you is that we do this again and talk about some of the other programs that we have a bit more in depth, because there's a lot of value in not only what you're doing, but the outcomes of what you've done and the support that you give the community. So Michael, I just again want to thank you so much for being a part of the local this morning.
Thank you.
And I'm really proud of the fact that our producer, Scarlett Rose, has basically got you to come on today, because this has been great. And congratulations again. I know I've said it a few times, but it's been amazing having a conversation with you too.
Look, thanks, Sam. But look, I've only gotten, and we've only gotten where we have with the team and the people around me, and it's a wonderful community. Been a pleasure to work with it and serve it.
It's good.
And my board, they're local people, so we're doing what the local community needs and wants.
And here's the reason why we are the local too, because we want to advertise, and maybe not advertise, we want to share the experiences of all of our businesses and our community providers, such as yourself, and to be able to make people aware of, who you are, what you provide, and that they shouldn't be scared to come here or shy to come here, because you're here to support them. So thank you to you, Michael, for coming onto the show today. And thank you to you, the listener, to join us here on the local. If you would like to get in touch with us, right now on the screen, you'll see the email address for our great producer, Scarlett Rose. And I've got to say also, sincerely thank you to Scarlett Rose, because she does a great job in producing this and making sure that you get the best information that you deserve locally. So again, thank you so much for listening to The Local, and stay tuned for our next episode. And we've got another exciting guest coming up soon. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.